Bingo.
True.
Knows the
Doggy
importance
dog
of
Shabbat.
services.
Right,
Bring your pet to Shabbos services
Yeah.
night.
Yes.
right.
Where's she
Here
on?
we are.
Oh,
something
there
like
you gotta
sweet.
agree.
Hi, John Steiner. Nice to see you.
Just go.
Huh?
It's okay.
Hi, Sunny. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom. Hi, Eileen.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh,
Hello.
Karen. Oh my gosh, who's that?
This is Toby, my rescue dog.
Ah.
Oh, very
Oh my
sweet.
gosh.
Oh,
And
There's
John, what's
two.
your baby's called? Your doggy?
what it's called.
Here's Duke.
Duke.
Cute.
Duke.
Looks like a Duke.
Oh, cute.
Oh,
Very
adorable.
He's a
Or-
Yorkshire. Mhm.
We have
Like
dogs, we
well
have
cared for
cats.
dogs.
I think, well, the bird lady's in New Mexico, so. Or parrots, actually.
Hi, Brian. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Another Mazel Tov. My daughter had a baby.
Ah, you made it.
Congratulations.
Mazel Up to Tov. 7.
Wonderful.
Do
Seven.
you think we could keep the goodness going all the way through Sunday's big game and get a big win there?
I can only hope. Pray.
Mazel tov, mazel tov.
Hi, Marissa. Nice to see you.
Wonderful.
Hello, Sonny. Nice to see you too.
Everybody is here tonight.
A lot of people.
Uh-huh.
Sure.
Alyssa, I love that for John, you made sure that Duke would feel very welcome with us for Shabbat.
He
Barbara
does.
Turner.
He does.
Shabbat
Jane has taught
Shabbat
Jane has
shalom.
taught him to
What a
say Shabbat
sweetie.
Shalom.
Want to go on video?
Mhm.
Even open him.
So I
Yeah,
think
it says
that
no.
soon, if we remember how to do this, that Rachel will mute all of us, and then the clergy will be brave enough to unmute ourselves and be able to take in all the fun and sweetness for Shabbat as we then, doesn't get better
Memories.
than- yes. My gosh.
Everybody have a great
Oh.
week.
Oh, there they are. The big C, clergy.
So maybe
You know what this program does not have that the other program had? I don't know how many people are here. They don't have the total of the people.
60. 60.
60.
60. It says 60.
Says it.
We used to have
Everybody have a great week.
70, 80.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat shalom.
Oh my gosh. And I have to say, after the week that it has been, and so many difficult things happening in this week, that it is for me a welcome thing when snow comes, when it just descends and it feels like it gets everything a little quieter, a little gentler. I think about our friends from our Monday meal, and I pray that they are safe and that they're warm somewhere that's taking them in with big, big hugs. And I feel like that's how I hope that we feel being taken in on this Shabbat. Something that I love, one of the teachings about Shabbat, in the Talmud, it says that Shabbat is 1/60th the world to come. That what we should feel on Shabbat is just a glimmer of what life could be if everything was as perfect as we all would want it to be. And I have to say that being able to see everybody's faces tonight, it makes me feel like that's maybe a little bit more like 1/30th. That we really are getting a glimpse of this beautiful world that we want to create, so we can just take in the Shabbat in peace and then pray that this world will follow very soon. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom. We're going to sing just to warm ourselves up on page 128 or 635, whichever, I don't know, feels closer to you or shows up on the screen first. And don't let all this wild Hebrew here intimidate you. You can lie instead and know that there's a verse in English coming soon. Hachama merosh hailanot nistalka. Uvinetze likrat Shabbat hamalka. Hine hi yoredet hakdosha habrucha. Ve'ima malachim tzva shalom umnucha. Boi, boi, hamalka. Boi, boi, hakala. Shalom alechem, malachei hashalom. The sun on the treetops no longer is seen. Come gather to welcome the Sabbath, our Queen. Behold her descending, the holy, the blessed, and with her the angels of peace and of rest. Draw near, and here abide. Draw near, O Sabbath bride. Peace also to you, you angels of peace.
Wow, that's how I want to welcome in Shabbat. And I love that we've welcomed in the Shabbat Malka, the Queen of Shabbat. And as we do so, it's nice the Conover boys are gathering so we can light candles, but you certainly do not want to hear our singing the blessing. So if it could be that I'll mute us and we'll light the candles and we'll invite Rabbi Singer to come back with us and maybe lead us in the singing of the blessings.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Cantor, would you mind? We'll do that, and we'll see
Yeah.
whether we still have the Shabbat juice guzzlers. But would you lead us in our Kiddush? It's on page 123.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'bratzon hinchilanu zikaron lemase v'reishit ki hu yom techila lo mikra kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu v'chata v'yotanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha ve'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. L'chaim, this is the best part. Thank you, Rabbi. So cool.
Well, we'll continue with our Shabbat service in this way, being able to we welcomed in the Sabbath Queen, and we'll continue to welcome in the Sabbath Bride with Lechado D, verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 on page 138.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor bezachor b'dibor echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushmo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litila lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki makor habracha merosh bikadem nasucha sof maaseh b'machashav atzachila lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikavela lecha dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nikavela Hitoreri, hitoreri, kiva orech kumiori, uri, shir daveri, kivod Adonai alayach nigla, lecha dodi likrat kala, pnei Shabbat nikavela, lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ataret bala, gam b'simcha u'tola, toch emunei am sigula, boi chala, lecha dodi likrat kala, Pnei Shabbat nikabela lecha dodi likrat kala Pnei Shabbat nikabela.
Cantor, were you opening the door for the Sabbath angels, these
You know it.
messengers of?
Or anyone
We'll turn
else.
to page 1.
Anyone that wants to show up is welcome.
But only if they're messengers of peace. Page 142.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Malach, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Malach Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Just as you began to sing about Zeidchem L'Shalom, like may they go out in peace, I think that Coco thought that she was also a messenger of peace, and she went out, and I'm excited for her to come back in soon to join us as a community for the Baruch Hu as we begin our prayer together. Page 146.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach, Baruch Adonai, HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. We continue on page 152. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nefshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta ba'am b'shivtecha b'veitecha u'v'lechtecha v'derech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu totafot bein einecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha L'man tizkaru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim v'hiot lachem le'Elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
Emet.
Amen.
So as we prepare ourselves to sing together the words of the Micha Mocha, they're found on page 158. I think about the way in which this is a celebration of what happens after war, what happens after difficult times of struggle, what happens after what seemed like it was going to be intractable and forever actually comes to an end and is worth celebrating. I love that we have these moments because right now we are in the thick of things, where things feel like they are so hard, they're never going to change. Think about how this Sunday we will be marking 100 days since October 7th. We think of all the suffering that's taken place since then. And then we hear these words of Micha Mocha. We have these words in which our people actually got to another side. They got to a side of freedom. And since then, every generation has looked at these words and sung them both with hope and with purpose and a sense of freedom in their hearts. We do this tonight, even as we mark that this is also the birthday weekend of Martin Luther King Jr., for whom these words meant so much as well. We continue in that legacy of our people and of MLK as we sing these words of Micha Mocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot osef ele, malchutcha maruv hanecha, Hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, zeli anu ve'ameru, Adonai yimloch leolam vaed. V'nemar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, u'go'alo miyad chazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael.
And so we protect this time, remembering that Shabbat is 160th of the world to come. We have a glimpse of paradise, and so we protect that vision. Even as we know, as the week begins on Sunday, we'll continue to go forth with making it a reality. We sing these words of our people, Vishamru, we protect Shabbat, so it protects us. 162.
I actually have a table in front of me that I can use for this. So I encourage everybody, your lap, anything, or someone that's driving you crazy at home, start drumming on them. Veshamru b'nei Yisrael et hashavat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We continue now on page 164 for our Amidah, our central prayer.
Adonai sifatai tiftahu fi agi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu bimotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Hayel Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Bekonei Hakol, Bezocher Chashrei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Gula Livnei V'nehem, Lema'an Shmo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah gibor le'olam Adonai, mechayei hakol atah rav lehoshia. Mashi baruach u'morid hagashem, mechalkel chayim v'chesed, mechayei hakol v'rachamim rabim. Somech noflim v'rofech olim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal gvurot, umido melech, melech memit umechayeh, umatzmiach Yeshua v'nemanat al hachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechayei hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom yihalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
As we enter into this time of silent prayer, of silent reflection, I invite us to think about the way in which we are entering a new month of Shvat. In the middle of this month, we are going to celebrate the birthday of the trees, Tu B'Shvat. And so I invite us to imagine ourselves remembering that there is growth happening right now, even in the dead of winter. To imagine that each snowflake that falls is bringing more peace and nourishment to this earth and to each one of us. And as you take these moments of silence, bring that peace into your soul so we can bring that into this world.
May the words of my mouth and the meditations of my heart be acceptable unto God, unto God. May the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable unto God, unto God.
We know that there is extraordinary brokenness in this world, but we also know that we have an extraordinary capacity for healing. We don't have the ability necessarily to physically heal someone, but we have the ability to call them, to write to them, to pray for them, to say, I'm thinking of I'm with you, you're not alone. If there's somebody who you know who could use some healing of body or healing of spirit, I'm going to invite you to either type their name into the chat or to unmute yourself momentarily and say their name out loud. We know that there will be some cacophony. Some of you might talk over each other a little bit, and that's okay. But we still invite you to share those names with us, either out loud or in the chat.
Candy Roller.
Bob
Polly
Bernstein,
Wilkenfeld.
Michael Damon.
Karen Cohn,
Terry Bustard.
Rich Brandt.
Julie Adler,
We send them prayers of care and healing, and we turn to page 371 for Misha Berach.
Misheberach Avoteinu Mokor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mokor habracha le'avotenu bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Cantor, will you sing the Misha Berach Nigun as we continue to play the names?
Absolutely. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. Lie, 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 lie. 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 Lie, 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 lie.
Shabbat Shalom. I know you're saying Shabbat Shalom back, even if I can't hear you. It's really wonderful to be together and just so much fun to get little glimpses into your homes. A number of years ago, before my time at Temple Sholom, the extraordinary lawyer and founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, Brian Stevenson, came and spoke on the Temple Sholom Bima. He spoke about the idea of getting proximate. To Stevenson, getting proximate means getting close to people and communities who experience inequality. He says that when we get close to politically marginalized communities, when we gain greater understandings of their experience and build deep relationships, that proximity, that closeness, those relationships can be transformative. I know that Brian Stevenson spoke about getting proximate a number of years ago at Temple Sholom, even though it happened before I started, because it has come up so many times in my time here. It's been quoted by clergy, mentioned by a number of you. I even had to search through my sermons to make sure I hadn't talked about it already. The idea of getting proximate to people who are different than us is a deep value of our community. But doing the work required to get proximate, building relationships with marginalized communities, is truly and genuinely difficult for a number of reasons. The first reason is that proximity creates bonds and relationships, and bonds and relationships lead to power. And so it's actually in the interest of some who are dominant in our society to keep minority groups separate and segregated from one another so that they don't get too powerful. Additionally, we're still catching up on 2 years of lost relationship building from the pandemic. Our families and our work lives keep us extraordinarily busy, and all the while, social media gives us the feeling of proximity to other groups, even though it lacks the relationships and the context. We all know that seeing pictures of our friends or videos from our friends' vacations is not the same thing as having a great conversation with them and understanding what's really going on in their lives. And this is all the more true when it comes to following people who we don't actually know on social media. Getting proximate to other people and groups takes time, and it's easy to push to the bottom of our list or to neglect. But in moments of crisis, and I do believe that we are in a moment of crisis, proximity and the relationships that stem from it become vital. The moment of crisis I'm focusing on tonight is not just the horror-filled war in Gaza, but the friction and enmity surrounding that war here in America. While we are all united in our hatred of violence and in our sorrow for the loss of innocent people, our congregation contains a very wide swath of opinions on Israel and on this war. Imagine almost any opinion about Israel and Palestine on the political map, and there's somebody in our congregation has expressed it. We have worked very hard so that Temple Sholom can be a place where people can hold a wide swath of opinions and still remain proximate, still be in strong relationship with one another despite disagreement. But what do we do when people who are not in our community, but who are aligned with us on other issues, express ideas about Israel that feel uncomfortable or wrong or even hateful to many of us? What do we do when we see a sentiment expressed by a person or an organization and our gut reaction is, I have no desire to speak to this person anymore. I will not be affiliating with that organization. Over the last few weeks, many of you have reached out as organizations you care about deeply, a number of them, ones you align with, ones that share your values, have posted or emailed or mailed out the words from the river to the sea, or have called Israel a colonial apartheid state, or have said that Zionism is racism. While some of the individuals at these organizations have very legitimate critiques of Israeli policy, of the occupation of the West Bank, of the war in Gaza, this kind of criticism, this way of criticizing that feels overarching and oversimplified, it raises many of our hackles. It makes many of us feel anxious and misunderstood and alone. I hear some of you wanting to walk away, and I understand it. You ask, how can we align ourselves with people who seem so far away from us? How can we support organizations that issue statements that appear actively hateful to some of us? But somehow I keep feeling that this is a moment not for walking away, but for asking ourselves, who do we need to be proximate to? And why aren't we more proximate with the people that we are aligned with on so many other issues? I'm wondering who of the people who put out these statements are genuinely anti-Semitic, and who simply haven't heard other perspectives and more complicated narratives. Yes, some people and groups are acting extremely. Some are denying or refusing to understand or take into account any mainstream Jewish perspective. But I have to believe that most people are not extreme, that most people are good-hearted and well-meaning and simply are not in relationship, are not proximate to certain Jewish perspectives. In this week's Torah portion, Va'era, we are at the heart of our people's ancient liberation narrative. The Israelites are slaves in Egypt, and God has heard their cries. It's their time to start working towards freedom. But that working towards freedom comes with a large pile of communication problems. The Israelites literally cannot hear God because their heart is too crushed from all of their years of oppression. Pharaoh cannot hear Moses' warnings because of his hardened heart. Moses and Aaron and God have to work together as a team to take on different communication roles, to get their message out. None of them alone, not even God, are able to be heard fully by a group of people whose spirits are crushed, who are so used to living and seeing oppression. I want us to keep this in mind as we think about getting proximate over the next months and years, as we decide when to walk away and when to get closer to groups where we disagree on Israel. I believe that our job is not to educate and inform, but to build relationships with others so we can have good, deep, difficult conversations. So we can ask, where is your perspective coming from? What do you mean when you say those words? And we can hope that people will ask us those same questions in return. I got the privilege of spending the last 3 days at a community organizing training for clergy in Chicago. It's something that Rabbi Gelman and I got to do together with the organization Live Free Illinois. At this training, Rabbi Gelman and I were the only 2 Jewish people in a room full of Christian leaders from around Chicago and Illinois. And a large number of those leaders walked up to me and told me that they had never been in the room with a rabbi before. We got the opportunity to ask each other questions, but I'll have to be honest, the questions we asked each other were pretty basic. I said, I'm sorry to be ignorant, but I have no idea what the difference is between a minister and a pastor. Someone else said to me, I'm sorry to be ignorant, but I want to know, do you hold your Sabbath services on Saturdays or on Sundays? I thought to myself, how can I expect other groups of people to hold nuanced, complex perspectives about Jewish relationships to Israel when we don't even know some of the most basic details about each other? But the opportunity to sit together, to laugh together, to get towards the point where we can start to have those deeper conversations was a privilege and gave me a lot of hope. As we go into this year, I hope that we will all work on getting proximate, not even when it's hard, but especially when it's hard. I hope that we will build relationships with new people who think differently than us. I hope that we will find new ways towards shalom, towards peace. Shabbat shalom. We are going to rise in body and in spirit and turn to page 586 for Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet grula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo salmanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim, Lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We continue on 591. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz Vayom hahu yehi Adonai echad u'shemo Ushmo Echad.
You can be seated. Are we doing Zoom announcements together? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Great.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
So, Cantor, will you tell us about your prayer and liturgy 101 class?
We're going to be online only. It starts at 9:30 a.m. starting on Sunday this weekend. And so my dog Wolfie will be there. I'll be there. You do not really need anything for it. I'll make sure that we have material shared online during the class, but this is kind of dipping our toes into the prayer book, into the prayers, talking through what encompasses a Friday night, a Saturday. Should be cool. You're always welcome to come back if you've come before, but some stuff may be repetitive. That's it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. This Monday, there's an incredible opportunity to honor Martin Luther King Day by joining JCRC, the Stone Temple Baptist Church, North Lawndale, Historical and Cultural Society for a celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And our very own Rabbi Gelman is going to be one of the speakers. So we hope you'll join us. The breakfast will take place from 9 to 10:30 a.m. and the program is at 10:30 a.m. Also on Monday, there is our adult education film night where you can watch together The Jewish Cardinal and have great discussions with Cliff Scott Rudnick. And then on Tuesday, there is going to be an information session about Temple Sholom's upcoming Israel trip.
That will
So
not
you
be
can-
happening. So it's been determined that we will not be having that trip. So not as it has been organized. So we'll be seeing whether there is interest in doing a service trip there. So doing volunteering there for a 4-day short trip there, maybe in early June. So if that's something you're interested in, please let us know.
Amazing. Thank you. And then finally, if you are in Macomb in your 20s and 30s, we invite you. We're doing a 3-part soup and spiritual discussions and learning with Anshe Emmett and with Base Chicago. So the first is going to be at the Base House, which is a rabbi's home in Logan Square, where we're going to be eating soup and talking about Tu B'Shvat. So please come join us on Wednesday, January 17th at 7 p.m. I think those are all of our announcements. Do we have any more to add? Great. So also, if you're new to Temple Sholom, we'd love you to sign our virtual guest book that the incredible Rachel Lipson just put in the chat. And we're going to turn now to our Mourner's Kaddish. We take time to remember those who we love, those who are missing, those whose memories we want to honor by sharing their names out loud. So we'll do the same that we did earlier. Either you can add a name to the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share a name with our community. We add to those names Shirley Goldman Herzog, Ida Anger, Charles Corky Goodman, Case Phillips, Alvaro Lopez Pinto, Anne Ziegler Friedman, Shale Baskin, Anthony Botko, Howard Stanley Berger, Erwin Bervin, Sidney Burtz, Marjorie Brownie, John Clouston, Katie Cutlip, Wayne Dale, Alan Deutsch, Franshawn Fran Ehrlich, Abraham Farsht, Norman Israel Godfrey, Dr. Jacob A. Goodman, Ted Gratzman, Kurt Gutman, Jeanette Hondekin, Jeannie Hyman, Abe Carnes, Lev Kadosh, Isidore Lasser, Helene Mann, Marion Louise Morris, Israel Ofer, Sonia Olex, Henrietta Pessin, Lillian Patashnik, Charles Chuck Report, Katrina Ray, Rose Sampson, Jeffrey Shannon, Stuart Sharp, Jerry Taylor, Joseph L. Tobin, Lisa Tana, Dave Unger, Rachel Weiss. May their memories be for a blessing. And if there are any other names, if you'd like to add a name out loud, I'll invite you to unmute yourself and do that now. With that, we rise in body and in spirit, and we turn to our Mourner's Kaddish. We are on page 598.
Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabah. V'yalmad yivrach v'rutei v'yamlich malhutei. V'chayachon v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael v'agala u'vizman karib v'yimru. Yehi shmei rabah mevorach leolam l'olmei almaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei. V'yit hadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kursha. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata v'amiran bi'alma v'imru. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Ose shalom mimromav v'yase shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru. Amen. Ose shalom mimromav v'yase shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru imru. Amen.
Amen. We're praying for a Shabbat of peace, both in Chicago and all over the world, a Shabbat of warmth, a Shabbat of even a little bit of hope. And we're ending with Ein Kelohenu on page 626.
I bet that the tradition of having a closing song came from the Jewish service and the needs for people to come up with jokes during this time. So I fully expect that as we're doing our closing song, you are getting funnier and funnier by the minute. Ein Kelohenu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mich Eloheinu, Mich Adonenu, Mich Kemalkeinu, Mich Moshienu, Nodel Eloheinu, Nodel Adonenu, Nodel Emalkeinu, Nodel Moshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Now we can remove our spotlight.
Take my spotlight off. I'm not funny at all.
Oh my gosh, no. If you have one, Cantor, you probably do. And here, I'll
They're
unspotlight
too
myself.
rude. My son, Shadow taught them to me, and they're too rude. So just
Whoa.
they're funny in my head and safe in here.
Can't unmute. Okay, finally.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
Joan
shalom.
May.
Shabbat shalom. Make it a great week, everyone.
Oh my
Shabbat
gosh.
shalom.
And go pack.
Go Pack, go.
Oh, hi. Wow.
Shabbat shalom.
Hi.
Shabbat shalom.
everybody.
Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shalom.
Shabbat
Joan
shalom.
May, you were going to give a joke, I thought.
Joan, you
I
have
have a little joke.
all right, I'm muting myself. I can't wait to hear. But listen to my laughter, even if I'm on mute.
How do you make a candle happy?
How?
You just blow it out. It'll be delighted. Okay, that's it. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat
David
shalom.
and Lander, did you find one?
All right.
Do you find that you're feeling old and when the weather's like this? I do. You know how old I feel?
How old?
How
I'm,
old?
I'm so old. I remember when the Dead Sea was merely sick.
Oh my gosh. Brad Blumenthal, you strike me as somebody who keeps a good joke or two.
You probably heard it, but okay. So a Frenchman, a German, and a Jew are walking along through kind of the desert. And the Frenchman says, "I'm tired, I'm thirsty, I must have some wine." And the German says, "I'm tired, I'm thirsty, I must have some beer." And the Jew says, "I'm tired, I'm thirsty, I must have diabetes."
Hey.
Oh, that's good. John Roller, what about you? Are you somebody who's a keeper of jokes?
No, definitely not.
I have one, Rabbi.
Oh, good.
What's the daily special today at the Mexican restaurant?
What?
Burritos.
Very good.
When it's told like that.
What did one snowman say to the other snowman?
What?
Do you smell carrots? I'm done.
Nathan Lamp, what about you? You got any good ones?
Like Cantor, the only joke I can think of is not friendly for all audiences.
That's why we're friends.
So I will keep it to myself for now.
Oh my gosh, I'm finding you at
Shadow,
the
tell me what it is. You can stand behind me. Shadow, just say it out loud, the joke. This is from Shadow. Say,
How many
tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh?
How many?
How many?
Tentacles.
Hey, so good.
That's as clean as our house has ever been.
Philip, what about you? You got any?
Yes. An American, a Russian, a Chinese, and an Israeli are standing on a street corner. A journalist approaches them and says, "I'd like your opinion about the food shortage." The American says, the meat shortage. The American says, "What's a shortage?" The Russian says, "What's meat?" The Chinese says, "What's an opinion?" The Israeli says, "What's excuse me?"
So if you put down everybody, maybe it's semi-acceptable. I don't know. I think it walks right that line. Leo, you got anything good?
I'm looking something up. I haven't told a prompted joke in months.
Oh my gosh. Well, now know that whenever you find it, we're ready. And I don't know if anybody else. What about our librarian? Phyllis, in all of those books, did you ever come upon a joke book and find the perfect one that you love to share? Deep contemplation. That's fair. That's what a librarian should do. Anybody got one? I should have come armed also. One thing that I can do, I can bring Coco over. Do you want to see everybody? Yeah, let's see. All right, and then Shadow, it looks like you've got another one.
Shalom, Inlanders.
There she is. Coco, you want to say hi to everybody?
She's so cute.
Not as cute as Shadow. Shadow, you got another one?
He knows what not to say. At least he knows that.
Villages?
My phone is on the couch, sorry.
And Joan, it looks like you have it looks like you've got a big packet in front of you. Could that be a packet full of jokes? Sandy, did you unmute because you were going to share one? All right. Well, I took such a fun thing and I took it for too long. So so maybe we'll just all wish each other a great Shabbat Shalom. And as our beautiful rabbi, as one of our great rabbis said, may it be a Shabbat of warmth and peace and maybe even hope. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Cantor.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat
Hi. Shabbat Shalom. Marissa.
I love watching it dwindle. I like watching it dwindle down. Rachel, thank you for all your help.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Rabbi Singer, Yasher
Shabbat Shalom.
Hope to see
I
you.
want to be in your proximity. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.